Yeah, hi. I thought I'd do something a little different this week. Make a little video here to kind of present some of the most important things that I've been trying to say over the years and to make it into a somewhat simple format. We'll just see how this goes. We'll just hit the start button. I think basically there are three steps involved. And the first is to understand what is meant, at least in Buddhism, by your true nature. To embrace it and simply to let everything go. Your true nature has certain other terms that have been used over the years, the millennia, like your uh, true nature, absolute nature, Buddha nature, the face before your mother and father were born. These are all simple um, uh, terms that I think are pretty much interchangeable. So, what is your inherent nature? Read a little bit from the Avatamsaka Sutra, also known as the Flower Ornament Sutra. The term they use here is Dharmakaya, and one translation would be the Dharma body. And it goes on to say, the Dharma body, though manifesting itself in the world, is free from impurities and desires. It unfolds itself here, there, and everywhere, responding to the call of karma. It is not an individual reality or a false existence, but is universal and pure. It comes from nowhere and it goes to nowhere. It does not assert itself, nor is it subject to annihilation. So, having confidence in this uh, awareness, this sense of being that comes before the arising of self, of I and mind, of this and that. This confidence, I think, is essential. You can't gain momentum without it. I think it's why Kampopa, in the book we've been reading a little bit, at least last year, The Jewel Ornament of Liberation, he began with the chapter on Buddha nature. So it's embracing the vastness of your being, but also to have a sense of faith or confidence. The Avatamsaka Sutra continues and it goes on to say, it is forever serene and eternal. It is the one, devoid of all determinations. This body of Dharma has no boundary and no quarters, but is embodied in all bodies. Its freedom or spontaneity is incomprehensible, as is its spiritual presence in things corporeal. Assuming any concrete material form as required by the nature and conditions of karma, it illuminates all creations. There is no place in the universe where this body does not prevail. The universe becomes, but this body forever remains. It's free from all opposites and contraries, yet it's working in all things and leads them to nirvana. There is no place in the universe where this Dharmakaya does not prevail. It's a very key concept. There's also an interesting teaching that I encountered from the 13th century Korean monk named Taego. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that correctly, but he has a teaching in which he's, at the request of a king, he was made to teach, actually obliged to teach. And the first section of his teaching is called the mind ground. And it's really interesting because it corresponds to exactly the same schematic that Kampopa presents, at least starting with the mind ground. And here he gives an explanation to the king. He says, there is something bright and clear, without falsity, without biases, tranquil and unmoving, possessed of vast consciousness, fundamentally without birth and death and discrimination, without names and forms and words. It engulfs space and covers all of heaven and earth, all of form and sound, and is equipped to function. The one thing is always with each and every person, whether you move or not, whether you encounter circumstances and objects, it is always very obvious and clear everywhere, revealed in everything. It's quietly shining in all activities. As an expedient, it is called mind. It is also called the path and the king of the myriad dharmas and Buddha. Buddha said that whether walking, sitting, or lying, we are always with it. As an expedient, it is called mind. I love that. He actually goes on to actually say the instructions to the king. He says, Your Majesty must contemplate his own inherent mind. During lulls in the myriad functions of state, Your Majesty should sit upright in the palace, without thinking of good and evil at all, abandoning at once all phenomena of body and mind, just like the golden statue of Buddha. Then the false thinking of birth and destruction is totally obliterated. And the obliterated is obliterated. In an instant, the mind ground is quiet and motionless, with nothing to rest on. Body and mind are suddenly empty. It's like leaning on the void. All that appears here is total clarity and illumination. At this moment, you should look carefully at your original face before your father and mother were born. As soon as it is brought up, you awaken to it. Then, like a person drinking water, you should yourself know whether it's cool or warm. It cannot be described or explained to anyone else. It's just a luminous awareness covering heaven and earth. That bears repeating. It's just a luminous awareness covering heaven and earth. This is really tremendous. I think I misspelled mind. Mind and body are empty, like leaning on the void. These are little snippets, I think, little pith instructions that if you read them and take them hard and sit with them, I think, they can actually allow you to understand, to know on a non-intellectual basis what is meant by inherent nature, Buddha nature, true nature, and then you sort of allow them to soak in, just like cloth is allowed to soak and dye. It just allows it to soak in. It is just luminous awareness covering heaven and earth everywhere. When you sit quietly and embrace your inherent nature, embrace your Buddha nature, let everything else go, it's simply a process of opening and letting go and letting go, till things naturally sort of fall into place. And what's amazing is that you get to see that this inherent nature, this Buddha nature, is already taking care of everything. Everything is already taken care of within Buddha nature, within this luminous nature. So it's just a very simple 1, 2, 3. You know your inherent nature, you sit with it, you allow it to come forth, you know it's your birthright, it's yours. You embrace it, you let everything else go. I know I've been sort of choppy here, but I hope it's been of some value to you. Of course, we have the Wednesday. You can come every first and third Wednesday, ask questions, and sort of take advantage of sitting together. This has just been a short overview. We'll do more of these. Okay, take care. Aloha.